Hello everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today everyone, I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts and perspectives on the Pluto in Leo generation. And I'm really inspired to actually be creating a video series on all the generations. I've just recently created all the material like the artwork and all the logistics and such. So I'm going to try to see if I can record them as fast as possible. It is most certainly my intention. And we're going to do Pluto through Leo generation, Pluto through Virgo, Pluto through Libra, Pluto through Scorpio in that way. And if there is anybody out there that is a Pluto and Sagittarius soul, I will most certainly see if I can accommodate you as well in that sense, okay? But today I'm going to be talking about Pluto in the Leo generation, or Pluto and Leo as it were, the constellation. And so this cycle took place between June 14th, 1939 until August 19th, 1957. Okay, so during that time span, that was the Pluto in Leo generation souls, and you were born during this period of time, you will fall under this category. Okay, so what are we dealing with here firstly when we're trying to understand the nature of a Pluto in Leo generation? Well, firstly, the Pluto and Leo generation themselves have got the sun ruling the Pluto archetype, okay? So instantaneously, we can understand that this is a lifetime where you have come here to creatively self-actualize, okay? So what does that mean, creatively self-actualize, or creative self-actualization? What it means from an evolutionary point of view, and of course, in general in that way, it reflects the need to basically show up in your life and to follow your special destiny, to provide yourself with the life that you want to live that is in alignment with what your soul's journey is, okay? It's like, what am I born to do? And every single one of you will have some unconscious feeling within inside of yourself, or even conscious actually, of that there is a special destiny and that I have to fulfill this special destiny in some way, shape or form, okay? So your journey, your story is about taking this feeling of special destiny, this feeling of like, I'm here, I'm born to be great, I have this magical journey that I should be embarking upon, and that I should in some way, shape or form fulfill that, okay? Now, what's interesting about this creative self-actualization journey is that it can manifest in different types of ways, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I want to come back to the main point here again about the creative self-actualization. So with inside of yourself, you have this evolutionary intention of wanting to fulfill this special destiny. And that journey that you have then becomes this process, okay? Now, many of you will also have both sides of it. You'll have very, very strong past lives lived where you have actually been recognized a lot for this feeling of special destiny, this feeling of I'm great. Many of you will probably have lived lifetimes where a lot of royalty would have taken place, wonderful, amazing lives lived where there's been gifts of joy and abundance and wealth, and you've really known what it's been to live in a sense of luxury. And so if you look around your life right now, you'll notice that your majority of your life has been about that process of following your heart and living in luxury in some way, shape or form, having the gold plated name board at your work, or you've been defined as the CEO, or you've been the business player, you've had lots of money, you've been recognized in your society, and so on and so forth, and you've had the car, and there's a sense of empowerment that has essentially come through that activation, okay? So that is the main purpose of the generation, and that's what your journey has been about, has actually been to come into this lifetime and then also heal the polarity point of what I just mentioned, which was the other story, or the other part of the story is where you've actually experienced quite a lot of lifetimes under deep impoverishment. And so there's this duality that exists within yourself of not having your creative dreams fulfilled, not having your sense of special destiny allowed to manifest within yourself. And so what naturally happens in this journey is that you then polarize and you search for it in the opposite way, and you literally live a lifetime where you are following that special destiny, and that becomes the healing experience. Okay, so I'm sure you can probably recognize within yourself these, these different types of themes that you would have experienced. And again, the majority of you will probably have experienced in some way, shape, or form the credit cards and the lifetime lived where there's been, the socializing experiences where big business is done and lots of money is traded hands and people have lived in luxurious houses and such in that way. So that would be the main two causal factors for the life: remembering and living those dreams again, gravitating towards those past lives where you've achieved that stuff, and so in this lifetime you'll do it again. And also then coming from deep feelings of disempowerment and then having to creatively self-actualize in this lifetime and follow that special destiny. Okay, so what type of wounding do you then carry with the signature? So many of you would have probably been brought up in lifetimes where your parents were Pluto and Cancer souls. So their consciousness at that stage was a lot of regarding the war, the two wars that took place in the early part of this, or the 19th century. So security needs were really important at that stage, consistency, a sense of homeliness, etc. And when you're growing up, you have this feeling of like, I want to be an actor, I want to be a star, I want to be represented and seen for my creativity. And yet simultaneously, the environment, the conditioning around you is you get a job, you follow the rules, you make your wage, you come home, you put the food on the table, and that's all you should do. And yet within inside of yourself, you're like, but I want to go to the city, Ma. I want to go to the city, Dad. I want to experience the stardom that is there. And so you pack your bags and you go, which then creates the loss within the home regarding your parent structures and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of that story where your own inner child was never actually nurtured by your parents in that sense, which then represents that disempowerment factor. And it is that moving through those disempowering factors and making choices around empowering your soul and credibly self-actualizing that becomes the journey. So if you do feel in some way, shape, or form victimized by your life, where you were sort of cut away from experiencing those things, or you were told not to do it and it caused trauma, you can forgive in some way, shape, or form, because the generations themselves are so different that you are naturally going to have that karma onto you that will propel you in that direction. So you can see it was actually something very beneficial. So you carry this wounding around you of not creatively self-actualizing in that sense. A big part of this journey as well is actually learning to recognize within inside of yourself that because there is a natural square between Leo and Scorpio, you're also learning your own personal limitations. So at this point in time, many of you have maybe started to make the transition from your midlife into, moving into your elder age. And I bet you're probably going to hate me for saying that, but it's not what I mean when I say elderly, like you're growing old. And it's a case of moving into your maturation. And what beautiful gifts you actually offer us as you transition and surrender your midlife to your maturity age as the elder now, is that you get the opportunity to see your grandkids grow, and you can give them deep inner wisdom around how to creatively self-actualize. Because many of you don't recognize that a lot of you at this point in time are actually here to heal the Pluto and Scorpio generation souls that were born between 1988 and 1995, okay? Because they come through with huge trauma signatures around their own inner child not being recognized and seen and shut down, and massively not having the parental father around. So you carry this deep sense of nurturance and deep sense of compassion and inner child symbology with you. And as you move into your maturation age as an elder, you are here to create destiny around healing those souls. So you're here to give wisdom, you're here to give advice, you're here to guide. And if I can encourage you in some way, shape, or form to recognize that that is what your journey is about, it would make me a lot happier, because I know that in some way, shape, or form, that generation are actually being guided by the right people. So between 1988 and 1995, specific generation, the Pluto and Scorpio, the wounded child, the wounded inner child, and the Pluto and Leo generation that now are moving into their elder stage have the capacity to actually nurture and cultivate the awareness around how to restart that heart, because you've had to do it in your own life in that sense, and you've actually gone through life's trials and tribulations that taught you how to do that, so you can offer them that process. So as you transition into that age, you also need to know to let go. And this can be incredibly difficult because many of you that might feel victimized by life in some way, shape, or form transition from the process of building this massive empire to it now being handed over to the next direction, or the next generation, pardon me. And so a lot of change is taking place, and you're holding on to it because you're going, my dream, it's dying, it's no longer alive anymore, and I'm losing it, and it can naturally create depression. And what's actually taking place here is, and this will be your biggest lesson, spiritually speaking, and for anybody that has Pluto in the fifth house as well, this will be your lesson, is that Pisces actually inconjuncts the fifth house, and Capricorn inconjuncts the fifth house, i.e. adjustment angles, creating a finger of God. And Leo squares Scorpio in the natural zodiac. And so what these symbols represent to us is that when we come into this lifetime and we have this creative self-actualization, we spread our wings and we get magically recognized and we have this magnetism about us, there are still forces that exist that are beyond our power, okay? It's from an earthly perspective. And you're learning to recognize the universal laws in contrast to your own laws. Because Leo's energy is so focused on creative self-actualization, it can be so difficult to have objectivity when the sun's burning right in front of you. And so as you transition into this new part of your life, you have to learn to surrender, okay, to the nature of the forces existing beyond your control. And that as much as you have the power and you have the creative self-actualization in the heart, again, this is a process of letting go and handing it over to the next generation and learning the deep spiritual lesson that catapults you from Leo into Virgo and so on and so forth. Because remember, Leo is the archetype of developing the subconscious, or not the subconscious, pardon me, the subjective aspect. So you have to learn polarity, which is Aquarius, and that is objectivity. And that is about how to integrate within the group dynamics by showing up and saying, hey guys, this is my gifts, this is my creativity, where do I belong? Okay. So it's such a beautiful generation because you've got so much to offer us, and yet simultaneously it can be so difficult to let go of what you've created or the heart's desires, because in some way, shape or form, you were the kings. And as the nature or the laws of nature, reality, Neptune and Capricorn, when they come into play, they teach you the lessons of surrender. They teach you the lessons that as much as you were the height of your generation, you are now turning in and you're learning how to reflect upon your greatness and return that knowledge back to the earth and reincarnate again incarnate again into another lifetime. And so it can be very difficult, and feeling that loss as the new generation come up stronger, more powerful, etc., etc. So this is a video to really encourage you to recognize that if you are going through that transit as well, and you are feeling the depression or the loss of your gifts, or you're having to feel the humiliation by doing things that might not necessarily feel as if it's kingdom or kinghood, it's because the guard is changing, as it were, and the new generation are coming up, but you still have a gift, and that is to pass your wisdom and knowledge on to other people, because you are the ones that carry the entire generation of lifetimes, because you're the oldest in that sense, right? So you have all the wisdom and knowledge. So it's not about following your destination anymore. It's actually passing it on so that other people can benefit from your own personal journey in a way where you heal the collective. All right. Okay, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little video regarding the Pluto and Leo generation. And be sure to check out the rest of the generation series that I'll be creating as soon as I can. I'll try to do one every single day. To let you know, the chart of the day will be up tomorrow as normal. I've found that a lot of positive comments came my way, so I'm going to do that every 3 days or every 2 days, depending on how the astrological weather is, because I don't want to kind of create a just mundane conversation. So yeah, all right, guys, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you again. Take care. Bye bye.